Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new draft preview. This time we will go to the LPL, Top Esports vs JD Gaming, the second game. I initially didn't want to go to the LPL, I wanted to stick to the LCK, LEC and LCS. And I was searching for a new draft that I could upload from the LCK, but I thought that all of the drafts from the LCK kind of look similar in a lot of ways. So I thought rather than uploading a similar draft and analyze that, I searched I went to the LPL, looked at their drafts, and basically the first draft that I looked at already, I already thought this was interesting. As I said, Top Esports versus JD Gaming. Top Esports start off with a Nidalee ban, which is interesting. They also banned the game before, so I assume it's a prevention, if that's a word, from Kanavi. If I have my memory correct, I think Kanavi played a game of Nidalee. At least I remember him playing a game of Nidalee, and he performed very good. So I assume Top Esports we don't really have an answer to that, and we just don't want you to play it, which is fine. You obviously have that ability on the blue side. On the red side, you rather have to ban certain champions. So this gets a little bit more problematic. JD Gaming also do that with the Syndra, which is a very strong pick, obviously flex pick, but also strong in general. And then Top Esports ban the Kalista. It's like a common ban, I would say, especially on blue side. A lot of teams don't want to play against it, especially on blue side. I feel like a lot of teams tend to ban it because they don't feel like this is first pickable champion, or they just don't like the champion, and then they rather don't want the enemy or the opponent to play it as well. And maybe this also suggests an Ezreal pick, because obviously Kalista has good ways to dodge some of the Ezreal poke, especially in the early stages, and Ezreal obviously has kind of a weak laning phase, especially at the beginning of the laning phase, while Kalista is already quite strong there, so it gives you as Ezreal kind of a better laning phase if they want to pick Ezreal, but obviously this could also just mean that they don't want to play against it and don't want to pick it themselves. JD Gaming's second ban is the Varus, which is also very common. He obviously got nerfed. I don't think that they play on the patch where he is nerfed, but yeah, so he's still very OP. And Top Esports' last ban was the Aphelios, which I would say, I mean, if they ban two ADCs, I would say that they are looking for an ADC pick themselves, and I would assume that is the Ezreal, because it is one of the only very strong picks that is still available. Yeah, that's what I think. Otherwise, I don't really. I mean, you could first pick the Aphelios yourself, or you obviously want to prioritize the Ezreal, for example, which is why then you ban the still available answer to it. And then JD Games' last ban is the Karma, which is interesting because they are adopting. They also think that they are probably gonna pick Ezreal, which I also do. I can already tell you that. So by banning away the Karma, this says, alright, we don't want you to play Karma, we want you to play Yuumi, because obviously normally the pairing anyways should be Ezreal Yuumi in my eyes, but you obviously can also go Ezreal Karma, which is also very strong. And they say, we want you to play Yuumi because we have a certain plan. That's that's my take why they ban Karma, not Yuumi. So Top Esports picked the Ezreal, as I said. Kind of obvious when you ban out 280 carries in a row. And JD Gaming also interesting that they ban away the Karma here, and they pick up Ashe, and they also pick up Bard, which is interesting. So I think actually that Ashe, especially in pro play, is very strong. She has kind of a weaker laning phase, but she still has some poke through her W, and especially paired with another ranged champion like Bard who can also poke, it is quite hard to really get on top of them, especially because both of them also have slows, or Bard has also stun. So I would say that this actually has they have a bit of poke on that bot lane. They have not a huge amount of damage, but they still have some damage, and they obviously have slow, which is also then hard for a possible gank to happen, because if you want to if you want to get on top of them, and if they slow you, obviously this kind of is more difficult in a way. And Top Esports, they pick up the Trundle, and they pick up the Yuumi. The Yuumi is expected, as I said, probably also picking the Ashe and the Bard because they thought the Yuumi was picked, and both have like a weaker laning phase, I would say, Ashe Bard and also Ezreal Yuumi. So it kind of gives a free lane to Esriumi. Normally you want to go like aggressive against them, for example like Phalos Nautilus, Kalista Nautilus, but I think it's smart from JD Gaming to say, okay, we want to play Ashe and Bard, because with Ashe you have a lot of map pressure with Bard as well, because you have like a semi-global and a global ultimate, and you obviously can also help your other laners if you ultimate into mid lane or top lane, or maybe into jungle, I don't know, to help your laners. And you also give your team a lot of vision through the Ashe East, so I think Ashe, especially paired with Bard in that matchup, is a really smart pick. And also the third pick from JD Gaming is very smart, because they picked the Graves. The Graves has a very good time into Trundle. I don't know why they picked Trundle here, because a Trundle can't really reach Ashe and Bard if they get slowed, especially if Trundle gets slowed down. It's like really hard to reach them. And if you have like some kind of protective pick here again, then there's no way that Trundle will do anything in this game. And Graves obviously also a very smart pickup, has a very good time into Trundle, can like farm all the time until like level minute 15, 20, because Trundle can't do anything. Graves can also invade quite easy, because Trundle can't really reach Graves as well. So those three picks I think are very, very smart. I didn't really like the fourth and fifth pick from JD Gaming, but these first three picks were really, really good, I think. While these three picks were, Yuumi Ezreal were very expected, so good job by JD Gaming to realize that. And also the Trundle, I don't like the Trundle, especially blind pick. I think there's too many ways to counter him, especially against Kanavi, who showed a good Graves, who showed a good Nidalee, who showed a good Kalista, all of these three champions that counter Trundle. So I think picking Trundle here is a big, big mistake by Top Esports. JD Gaming ban away the Renekton then, which is interesting. So I would say that suggests they have a certain pick in mind, or they say we want to play weak side top and focus on bot lane, which obviously makes sense. And then pick as like a safe top laner. They don't want to deal with an aggressive top laner that can also dive. So it is for sure smart from them. Top Esports ban away the Zoe, which is fine. I mean, Top Esports probably wanted to pick up. They probably wanted to pick up Zoe themselves, but it's too much of risk that JDG picks Zoe up. They already have two kind of pokey-ish champions, and if they pick up also Zoe with a good frontline, then I would say it would be very, very difficult for Top Esports, because they at the moment don't have an engage, and JD Gaming also banning away the Ornn, another good engage tool that Top Esports could have picked up. You might want to think about an Orianna as well, which also has like some initiations, especially versus ranged matchups, or versus ranged champions. Could have banned away the Orianna maybe instead of the Renekton. Orianna also gets picked later on by Top Esports. I would have banned it instead of Renekton, I think. But I mean, Renekton ban is also fine. And yeah, and then interesting, they picked the Wukong. I forgot the last ban from Top Esports, so let's do that first. They banned away LeBlanc, which is also fine, I would say. I think I would rather ban away some of mid lane options, other mid lane options than LeBlanc, because I think LeBlanc does make sense, right? As for Yuumi, if LeBlanc plays that smart, then LeBlanc has a hard time against that. And LeBlanc, for example, would be a good blind pick if you want to save the top lane up for last pick. So I think it's fine, but I think I can already tell you that they picked the Azir here. I would maybe I would have banned away the Azir, maybe the Corki, or one of those two options probably, because that gives you a lot of scaling, but also some poke potential, especially with Corki. So I would probably have banned away the Corki. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. JDG picking up the Wukong, which I don't really like. I think there are ways to counter Wukong, or at least neutralize him, which Top Esports also did. They picked up the Sion, who has probably not the easiest time at the early game, but if he gets more tanky with like 2 items, I would say Sion should win the matchup, or at least Wukong is not winning the matchup, or Sion not losing. So I think Sion is a good pickup, is like a tank option that can prevent the damage coming out of Ashe, Bard and Graves, but Sion also has kind of a difficult time to get on top of Ashe or Bard, Graves as well. if he misses his ult. His ult is like the only way for top esports at the moment to really do anything, and if you miss by that, then it's really hard from top esports to get on top of JD Gaming. And the last pick from top is the Orianna, which I said I would have banned it away. Not quite sure, but the Orianna is a good pick, I would say, good blind pick. Gives you some kind of protection tool for Ezreal Yumi, who are obviously kind of your winning condition, but it also gives you like damage. Right, Orianna has damage. It gives you good team fight. You already have team fight champions, and it also helps the sign with the engage through the ultimate from both of them combined. That's also very good. And then, as I said, JD Gaming pick up the Azir, which I also like. Maybe I would rather see a Corki here, but I think both champions are good. Azir gives you a lot of scaling, so especially through Grace and Azir, you have a lot of scaling. You have a lane that you can play through with the Wukong. If you can get him ahead, he obviously may be able to win a matchup versus Sion later on as well. You have Poke, so I think you kind of lack a little bit of like a bruiser or tank, which top esports have. So I think overall it's quite a balanced draft. I would say that JD Gaming heavily won the draft if we only look at these three champions, and I would say that top esports heavily won the draft if you look at those two champions. If it would be the other way around, and top would have picked up Wukong and Azir here, and JD, Sion and Orianna, for example, even though, like, or let's just say this would be like that, I think JD Gaming's draft would be nearly perfect, to be honest. But yeah, it was the other way around, so I would still say it's kind of equal, but I would rather lean towards JD Gaming, that they have drafted better. And I would say they are the first three draft picks, as I said, I think they are really, really good from JD Gaming, really, really smart. They made some adaptations during the pick ban phase, especially during the second and third ban. They realized that they want to pick Ezreal, and I think they did an amazing job. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time.